booms, ticky, ba-boom, boom, ticky, ticky, booms, ticky, ba-boom, boom, ticky, ticky, wark. Welcome, welcome, ladies and gentlemen of the narcissistic kiddie pool that is the internet. I am Eric the Penguin, your fast-talking Antarctic chill master P. What? To my left, the other half of the mean green sofa team is the lovable curmudgeon of the kayfabe he's judging. It's Dustin!
After we're done with this, we need to have a conversation about your copy of the key to my house and giving it back.
I am not giving it back. I already swallowed it for emergency situations.
How? Okay.
By the way, is something different?
I got a haircut.
Oh yeah, looks good. Very sexy.
Thank you.
Alright, so we are here talking about the WWE Elimination Chamber pay-per-view in 2018. What's special about this? It's the first ever historic, of course, Women's Elimination Chamber featuring 6 of WWE Monday Night Raw's finest female performers. Dustin, let me ask you a question, buddy.
Yep.
How excited or unexcited were you for this match, and particularly what were you expecting going into it?
I mean, I know at this point they're just trying to get all the firsts out, and it makes sense, and, I don't know, it's Elimination Chamber, so it makes sense that they're going to do a women's one for the first time, because women are getting to do everything now, and that's great, and I'm happy for them. I don't know, the booking,
For those who are new to the Elimination Chamber match, here's a rundown of how this bad boy functions. Typically, 6 participants try and eliminate each other from this caged kerfuffle via in-ring pinfall or tap-out submission. The last remaining superstar claims victory in whatever prize happens to accompany it. However, only 2 of the competing wrestlers start inside the ring. The remaining 4 are enclosed within adjacent pods positioned behind each of the turnbuckles. Every 5 minutes, a randomly selected pod will open, releasing its fenced fighter into the fray. The match can only be completed once all 4 pods have been vacated, thus allowing every superstar a chance at victory. We all good?
I just want to point out the word that you used there, because it's going to be important for later on. They are randomly,
Yes.
and I say randomly with very big quotation marks.
For this particular Women's Festival of Fisticuffs, the Raw Women's title is the Crackerjack prize to be claimed. The competitors for tonight's Female Elimination Chamber are champion Alexa Bliss, Sasha Banks, Bayley, Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, and Mickie James. So, kick off to the match! Sonya Deville opens the match one-on-one against Bayley with some grapple-based MMA offense that Ma Bay quickly escapes. Let's Go Bayley chants fuel the trip-up, running bulldog and a tour of the turnbuckles before Deville finally fights back. Several awkward repositioning spots later, Sonya catapults Bayley into the chamber wall, which she no-sells and begins to climb. Mr. Bob Barker, what is the kayfabe value of this tactic? After a messy back-and-forth struggle for dominance by the chamber wall, Bayley gets a 2 count on Sonya. A series of random reversals starts to chip away at the believability of their in-ring storytelling as neither woman gets a clean sense of direction. Bayley does, however, find her flow footing again, capitalizing on a soggy Sonya for a 7 out of 10 top rope elbow drop. A failed pinfall attempt signals it's time for our next opponent to shake things up. Oy vey! Mandy Rose joins the battle but is cut off like a bris by Rabbi Bayley and her high-energy offense. Despite another vocal showcase of fanthusiasm, both members of Absolution eventually master the numbers game, forcing Bayley into the ass end of a 1v2. Good double team. Bad double team. Good double team. It's a veritable seesaw of entertainment, folks. Let's go down the list of things to do. Number 1, tie up lovable babyface in the cage. Check. Audible trash talk that reminds us why you're not performing opposite Tom Hanks in next year's Oscar contender. Double check. Run down the clock until the next pod opens. Ooh, triple check. Magneto-themed Sasha Banks breaks free from her plexiglass prison to even the odds, putting the boots to both Mandy and Sonya while Bayley catches a breather against the hardcam. A legit flurry of forearms from Sasha keeps Sonya reeling before delivering a head of steam double knee to Ms. DeVille's face place. One sexy 2 count later, Sasha retains control with corner offense on both members of Absolution before the pace starts to thicken into sludge. Sonya manages a return to form as she forces Sasha into the turnbuckle with a series of shoulder blocks before capping off with a swift kick to the legit abdomen. But before Sonya can keep the pain train chugging along, Bayley returns to her feet, charging Sonya full tilt into the opposite turnbuckle post, a collision that was shirked by the production truck in favor of a mini reaction from Mickey. Get it? Mini? Mickey?
What did I sign up for?
Bayley and Sasha work their team-up offense by double hip-tossing Sonya into the chamber wall before delivering her back into the ring between the ropes. Meanwhile, Mandy waits off-camera for her cue to kickstart her spear delivery service. Now focusing on Sasha, Mandy takes the fight back to the ring, ignoring an opportunity for a potential pinfall under the guise that her next maneuver will not be reversed. Oh, should have taken door number 1. Sasha ducks a big boot, lands a double knee backbreaker that rolls through into a successful bank statement, causing Mandy to give in. Mandy Rose is out first in the Elimination Chamber. Also, Mandy Rose was out first in the Royal Rumble. Bullshit, of course, because we all know that Sonya Deville is truly the first one out. You go, girl. Upon Mandy's walk of shame, the countdown timer is activated, reminding us that we have 2 caged animals left ready to pounce. Who will it be? Mickie James comes out in full force with a forearm to Bayley, Fez press to Sasha, and additional forearms to Bayley before frantically ducking a Sasha swipe, curving the momentum into a beautiful spinning heel kick. Cockety-pow, it connects. Mickie off the ropes with a double clothesline to the Boss and Hug connection as Sonya conserves energy selling in the far corner. A few reversed pin attempts precede Bayley taking a strong-looking, well-timed neckbreaker from Ms. James in the middle of the ring. Faceplant, kip up, and knock knock. Who's there? It's Sonya. Sonya who? Sonya better listen to your mother. I am so awesome.
If I just ignore them, they'll go away, right?
Just like your cravings for human flesh.
On a side note, Chackety Pow was always my favorite sound effect from the Batman TV show.
Cockety pow for the win. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
No. You said Chackety Pow.
I said cockety pow.
You said Chackety Pow.
I will check the recording and we will see who's right. I'll post it right on the camera.
Okay. If you re-record yourself saying cockety pow, that's a foul.
I will not. I will keep it legit. Curving the momentum into a beautiful spinning heel kick. Cockety pow, it connects.
Break it down!
It is about here that I realize how much I genuinely dislike the push your opponent into the cage spot. The chamber wall is lined with linked chains that gently give way to any momentum thrusted into them, thus softening the blow and undoing your tightly wound kayfabe construction. Absolutely shatters the fourth wall of professional wrestling. Do not want. I think you agreed with that one, Dustin.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Decent Hurricane Rana from Mickie to Sonya off the chamber wall before Mickie is compelled by the spirit of King Kong to climb the chains for, I don't know, a reason? Sasha jumps in to pull Mickie down but eats a stiff kick to the neck and hits the floor while a desperate Bayley tries to keep the Powhatan Native American grounded. Mickie eventually succeeds in getting to the top of one of the corner pods, asserts dominance with a primal scream in which the attending crowd are happy to respond before recklessly delivering a high-flying Fez press to Sonya Deville. And after only 3 seconds, Sonya's championship future looks a little worse for wear. Celebration short-lived, however, since Mickie gets up to immediately chew a double knee backbreaker, then swallow a Bayley to belly before digesting her 3-count elimination at the hands of the hugger. In the immortal words of Samuel L. Jackson,
Go fuck to sleep.
Bayley and Sasha patiently catch their breath while a worried Alexa Bliss watches on from her soon-to-be unlocked chamber pod. It's only a matter of time. After the almighty 10-second countdown, Alexa performs an amusing spot where she immediately closes the pod door once it opens with a "fuck that" look scribbled across her face. When the obvious failure of this plan hits home, Alexa takes off for the chamber wall and frantically climbs upward, barely kicking off her pursuance. The scenario sparks Super Mario World flashbacks as the trio of contestants shimmy across the chains in a chase scene that would bring a proud tear to the eyes of both Smokey and the Bandit. Alexa, finally sandwiched by her nemesis, tries for an X3 The Last Stand atop one of the pods before being leveled by Sasha Banks. Surprisingly, or not surprisingly, in a Mufasa-level move, Sasha pretends to help Bayley up to the pod before furiously striking her down. The Ally McHeel turn is Ally McReal turn. Listen, I don't really know where I was going with that.
By the way, as a Richmond native, which is where Mickie James is from, and also living right by where the tribe was from, it's Powhatan, not Powhatan.
Ah, my apologies. I will have it corrected in surgery. The crowd respond vocally with crashing boos before the smarks in attendance break into a yes chant. Sasha's true home is on the other side of the tracks, and I for one am happy to see her step over the rails. The match is officially now a three-way dance since all bets are off between the now feuding Sasha and Bayley. While Sasha attempts to corner a downed Miss Bliss, Bayley bolts in at lightning speed, clipping the legit boss from behind, dropping her like a burgundy bombshell. Alexa is quick to attempt capitalizing on the crumbling friendship with countless strikes, chokes, and a few pinfall attempts, but considering she's been in this match a solid 25 minutes at this point, Bayley manages to impressively keep afloat. More intervening from Sasha keeps Bayley from being able to wrangle a solid offensive momentum, and so the two continue to let their anger haunt their championship dreams. Alexa, back on her feet, superplexes a stunned Bayley from the top rope while Sasha slowly recovers from a tree of woe to deliver what Michael Cole calls a frog splash to Bayley. 2 count fall and the trio spin their wheels and the clock, getting to their feet. A quick series of reverse move ends when Bayley delivers a top rope Bayley to belly suplex to Sasha. Then, wait, what? Alexa scuttles over, rolls up Bayley, and gets the 3 count? Yep, that's what happened. Bayley delivers a super version of her finisher and then gets pinned. Sasha and Alexa continue on as Bayley inches out. With Sasha still grounded, Alexa goes for a twisted bliss, but Sasha raises her knees, countering the finisher and buying herself some time. Sasha crumples Alexa on the ground with some knee strikes, but the fallen Bliss regains control by catching Sasha in the chains of the chamber wall, allowing for a crippling blow to knock the legit boss out cold. Alexa takes the opportunity to climb to the top of the pod and hit an extremely dangerous, sky-high twisted bliss to Sasha on the outside, who counter-rolls it through for a bank statement, popping the crowd with excitement. Nice. After a failed attempt at the submission, the two end up back in the ring with Sasha climbing the turnbuckle looking for a high-risk payoff, only to be booty-bounced by Alexa into the pod, knocking her into prime position to receive a spiked DDT from the corner, ending in a 3 count and a solid victory for Alexa Bliss, who is now set in stone for WrestleMania. Alexa Bliss delivers a teary-eyed babyface victory promo while the crowd chant, "You deserve it," then twists it into a heel promo, mocking everyone in attendance for not being as good as her and following their dreams to epic failure. Dustin!
I'm glad to see that in WWE, every now and then, the right person can win, and everyone can go home happy and celebrating that the hero won at the end of the day, triumphed over the insurmountable odds of the sad situation that is Bayley and her awful, terrible friend, Sasha. They have nothing that they can do in a world in which the goddess is running Raw.
In a world where Dustin is delusional enough to believe that Alexa Bliss is a babyface instead of a rusting bitch face.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but until the turn in that promo, that was the best babyface women's promo we've seen on Raw in a long time, with the possible exception of Ronda Rousey.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
Well, she's not a good promo, but the emotion she's shown recently has been endearing, even if her words weren't. Clearly, goddess of the WWE.
Mm-hmm. So, Dustin, first ever women's Elimination Chamber match. Were you okay with who won? Of course you were. And were you okay with how we got there?
Yeah. Fundamentally, it was a good match. I thought the overall booking in the sense of who came in when to the match and who left when they did, like those decisions, I found really lackluster. That's why I brought up earlier I wanted to emphasize the word randomly, because weeks ago I was sitting there thinking, okay, well, what would the most likely way to book this match be? in my mind, I thought they're going to do Bayley and they're going to do one of the members of Absolution. Because Bayley can go, and so she can be in there for a while. I knew that the first one out of a pod would be the other member of Absolution, because they had to book Bayley as the underdog. I don't quite like that booking anymore. Bayley's a multiple-time women's champion. She can't be an underdog anymore. I knew Sasha would come out next to even the odds and probably get rid of a member of Absolution, and then I thought it would be Sasha and Bayley teaming up against Alexa with Mickey still in the pod and Mickey coming out to Alexa in trouble and having that sort of, is she going to help Alexa or isn't she? Because in the build to the match, they were playing up whether or not Mickey and Alexa would actually work together. So instead to have Mickey eliminated before Alexa could even be in there and interact with her, I thought was a strange decision. And so that did throw me off. If I can sit down and figure out the order, they need to go, okay, this is the obvious order people are going to expect, and change something to preserve the kayfabe of random. And so that let me down. But overall, I thought the match was pretty good. Let me give it a 6 out of 10. Like I said, I think it could have been booked better building up to the match. The sort of macro booking of who comes out of a pod when, and the sort of overall storytelling could have been done better. But when it came to the actual match, with the exception of kind of a slow beginning, I thought everything was really good. They had some nice spots, no real noticeable botches. I thought it was a pretty good match.
I did not like Bayley's elimination from the match. Bayley being eliminated, believe it or not, I was okay with, despite my absolute endearing love with her, because I don't believe she's ready to be champion again yet. She has to go through a little more, and I don't think she'll be ready for at least another year. But she does deserve it again in the future. They just sort of have to, ground her, give her some footing to work with. But regardless, her elimination was some nonsense. She delivered a super version off the top rope of her finisher, and then she gets rolled up and pinned successfully. It's just a really nonsensical moment, because it's not the kind of finisher where she takes the big bump too. It's a belly to belly. So she lands on top of Sasha. Sasha breaks her fall in that scenario. It just really doesn't work. And if they wanted to pull the spot that heel Alexa slides in and capitalizes on them trying to rub each other out, that sounded way too sexual. Let me try again. If Alexa wants to scuttle in and try to capitalize on the two of them, knocking each other around, then that's fine. They could have just had Sasha superplex Bayley, and then Sasha could have sold from, obviously taking that part of the superplex, and Alexa could have scuttled in and taken the 3 count. So it's really weird that it came from Bayley successfully hitting her finisher in a powerful moment to her being, it just really was out of left field. But to summarize my thoughts, Bayley, I thought, looked very strong. She was the Iron Woman of the match, lasted the longest. I liked Sasha's aggression. Her coming out as a heel or moving toward that direction is the right move. I'm glad Alexa retained. She is great. She's a great heel, both in terms of in-ring and promo cutting. I agree. Her end-of-match promo was fantastic. Like I said, hate Bayley's elimination spot. It's just nonsense. The match did keep a good pace and a great moment-to-moment for the most part. A few sluggish moments, but overall I thought it moved particularly well. It was much better than the Women's Rumble, to be absolutely fair. And overall I'm happy with it. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Moving on! Nia Jax versus Asuka. A test of strength opens this contest as Nia quickly pushes Asuka to the canvas. After a no-sell pop-up, Asuka delivers a fast-paced series of offensive attacks that Nia shrugs off with ease. Asuka eventually slows down and reverses a chokeslam attempt from Jax with a spinning elbow before eating a headbutt, sending her to the corner. Asuka kicks a charging Nia, setting up for some back-and-forth head-to-turnbuckle meet-and-greets. Back to the center of the ring for more 50-50 booking that ends with Nia hair-tossing Asuka to the mat. It's at this point that the structure of this entire match is sliding into focus. Too many reversals, nobody gets anything over. Nia finds herself on the outside of the ring via a low rope counter by Asuka. Upon climbing back to the apron, Asuka attempts to hit her with a running butt bump, but is, surprise, countered by Jax, who sidesteps the head of steam, catching the Empress with a kick to the head. Nia starts to dominate a downed Asuka to a surprising pop from the crowd. Stomps, backbreaker, clothesline, running elbow drop. Nia is on fire. She wastes time audibly taunting Asuka as she's pulled to her feet moments before attempting some kind of leg lock submission. Nia, however, powers through it, lifting Asuka off the ground and throwing her around a bit before we get the magnificent return of the torture rack. Somewhere, Lex Luger locks eyes with a bald eagle, and freedom rings. Asuka breaks free and attempts another submission on Nia while she remains on her feet. Asuka has learned nothing. Yet again, she immediately regrets this decision as she inhales a surprisingly strong-looking jackhammer from Nia. A Jax hammer, if you will. You like that one? That was good, right?
Remind me after we're done to call a surgeon about key removal.
Is this the theme of the match? WCW finishers. I sure hope we get to see a Scorpion Deathlock. Asuka manages to stop this forceful offense with a well-timed jawbreaker, giving her the moment she needs to land some kicks to Nia, who now struggles on one knee. Despite gaining a bit of momentum, it's all for naught as running something or other is reversed into a Samoan drop. Back to her feet like a flash, Asuka moves out of the way of a running leg drop, then delivers a short drop kick, followed by a pinfall attempt. Only a 2 count though, as she sets up for another deluge of strikes. She heads to the top rope, but is, surprise, cut off early by Nia, who sets up for a top rope Samoan drop. But, surprise, is countered when Asuka slips out. Nia then attempts a corner seated senton, which, surprise, is countered when Asuka moves. Asuka tries to capitalize by getting some momentum from the ropes, and then, surprise, is countered by a clothesline from Nia, who then attempts to hit a running somersault senton, but fucking surprise, is avoided by Asuka, who rolls out of the way. She does get to her feet in the corner, though, when Nia angles for a running shoulder tackle, but fucking goddamn fucking surprise! Asuka dodge rolls just in the nick of time. Can anybody land a single fucking move? Thank God Asuka finally tumbles Nia to the floor while locking in a decent-looking armbar. My childhood dream of not witnessing a million counters is dashed against the rocks when Nia overpowers Asuka, standing up and sending her to the corner. Too much jaw-jacking and a WrestleMania sign point later, Nia sets up for a powerbomb that no one believed she would land, when, surprise, it's countered into a small package by Asuka, who gets the victory? Hold on, what? So, the tiny Japanese lady defeats a woman who outweighs her by at least 2.5 times with a small package counter that she is visually struggling to hold because of the actual size and weight difference. Physics could barely keep kayfabe here, and yet you expect us to mouthwash with this nonsense? Get the fuck out of here. Despite the match being completed, Nia isn't done yet. In a fit of rage, Nia attacks Asuka from behind, dumps her to the outside, and introduces her to the guard barrier like a father shaking his daughter's prom date's hand. Asuka is now injured, and Nia walks away disgruntled. Same here, Nia. Same here. Dustin, what were your thoughts?
So, I'm supposed to be the angry one. It's in my contract.
Oh shit, you're right. It was right under the part where you gave me your key.
So, it sounds like you didn't like this match.
No, it was terrible.
I feel like we were watching different matches. I don't understand why you hate reversals so much.
No, I don't hate reversals. I hate too much of any one move.
To me, a long string of reversals is no different than like a shooting star press. It's a spot. It's supposed to be something that pulls the crowd in and gets them excited. I mean, sure, I guess it could be overdone if the entire match was that way, fine, but...
It was. I don't know if I communicated that properly, and that might be my fault, but I only used that one example specifically to tell the joke, to have the surprise thing, but the whole match was littered with them, so I'll have a final run. I don't know what that count is right now, but I'll have one for the video.
Gotcha. I mean, it's interesting storytelling. I feel like it's storytelling that a match like this one kind of has to be told, but you also, like, you have to be cognizant of where they are. They're like a month from WrestleMania. They don't want it to be a squash match one way or the other. I think the best way for them to demonstrate their movesets and their power while keeping it a match that is I mean, I don't know, I'm guessing, but to me, it makes sense to do a big, just reverse counter sort of match because it's exciting for the average viewer. Maybe it's not your thing. I think it sort of builds anticipation, like, oh my god, when is the next move going to hit? Is this going to be it? Nope. Oh, maybe it's this one. Oh, nope. Oh. When's it going to, just do something. Oh, she hit it.
So what I'm trying to point out is the storytelling in ring has no weight. By that, I mean, when everybody's doing nothing but reversals and nothing coordinated actually lands, it takes away a lot of force behind the match, a lot of depth. It's the difference between eating an entire meal and just having a bowl of ketchup, you know? It's not that there's anything wrong with ketchup, and not that there's anything wrong with ketchup in your meal, but if that's all you've got, then there's no substance, and as a result, the match feels empty, and more so than anything, it feels like a missed opportunity. I think Asuka and Nia are both better than that, and I think they're both more entertaining than that, and especially this close to Mania, I think they deserved better storytelling than that. So ultimately, it's not so much that there's a problem with them, or there's a problem with reversals, or there's a problem with the position in the calendar. It's just that at this point, it was a gigantic letdown considering the talent level of everybody involved and what they're setting up for.
Okay. I get that. I mean, to me, when I see a bunch of reversals, I take it as them trying to tell us, look how closely matched these two are. And I felt like that was the right story to be telling. I mean, I take your points. I don't agree.
That's fair. So what would you give it out of 10?
I thought it was great. I'm torn as to whether this or the men's Elimination Chamber match was the better match. I think this was probably the match of the night for me. I'm going to say an 8 out of 10.
Based on how long we've been doing this now and how long we've been talking wrestling, what do you think I gave this match?
I'm going to say a 3.
Ah, very good. Yeah, 3 out of 10. I didn't give it like a 1 because, yes, these two women are talented, and the match wasn't boring, and nobody came out injured, no big botches. So all of that is a positive and earns at some point. And plus, it wasn't super long, so it didn't, overstay its welcome. So those are the reasons why it didn't go all the way into a 1. But yeah, 3 out of 10. Not great at all.
There's clearly something very different about the penguin brain.
There is. It used to be much better off until this one time I accidentally swallowed a key, and ever since then I have been really sick.
Ah, the running jokes. I love it.
All right, so next on the docket is the Ronda Rousey contract signing. First out is Kurt Angle, escorted by a tsunami of "You Suck" sing-along before making way for Triple H and Stephanie, who come to the ring together. A wordy introduction from the Helmsleys announce Ronda Rousey as the main attraction of this segment just before she comes to the ring with her UFC entrance music, Bad Reputation by Joan Jett. The segment goes out of its fucking way to let us know that babyface Rousey wants no preferential treatment in her WWE contract and instead prefers to be treated as an equal member of the women's roster. Should have added a rider that says no shitty booking then. Ronda, teary-eyed, seems legitimately happy to be in the WWE, so much that her promo is actually suffering for it. Collect yourself, Ronda, please, for the sake of the kittens. Eventually, Kurt Angle leaks that the reason Ronda was invited to WWE was so the Helmsleys could get a chance at revenge for the shenanigans back at WrestleMania 31. One Oscar-worthy performance later, and Ronda sends Triple H through the contract table before answering to Stephanie's "Who do you think you are?" growling with a ham-fisted stare-down, and finally, the actual contract signing. Dustin, thoughts?
I'm so in on Ronda. I liked her before she came. I wasn't sure about her coming into the WWE. I didn't want her to get the Brock treatment. Well, at least they're claiming she's not going to. She claims she's going to be full-time. We'll see once she actually gets into the ring. I'll be really interested to see if she does the house show circuit. If she does that, she's good in my book. But I'm all in, man. Just looking at her eyes, to me, and maybe I'm just a huge mark. Wait, I am a huge mark. But just looking at her eyes in the beginning, she was so excited to be there. And then you could see the confusion as Kurt was like explaining to her like what was going on, and she was trying to work it out. And then just the pure rage later in the segment. She's convincing to me in a way that so many of the superstars, male and female, aren't. You can see her emotion so well. It doesn't have to be explained. at the Rumble, even though everyone's made fun of how, like, cringy and botchy that segment was, but she was endearing to me because of how clearly excited she was. I mean, it's fine. It makes sense that they're going to do a follow-up to 31. I'm not even upset that it looks like The Rock won't be a part of it. I don't know. I'm down with this. If we could get more storylines like this out of the women's division, I would be happy.
Do you think she's going to wrestle before WrestleMania?
No. I hope it doesn't happen. I think it would be a mistake. I think it's something that will draw viewers to WrestleMania. That's the goal. I could see maybe like the Raw before WrestleMania stuff having her run like a gauntlet or something to like wear her down or something.
All right, so you're hoping for, shooting for, and believing that her first match will be at Mania.
I mean, I would like to see her in a match on Raw next week. I want to see her from their perspective. I think they know not to. To me, Ronda Rousey's first match in a wrestling ring, that's a WrestleMania moment.
Yeah, so excited to see her perform. The only real downside in the mystery of her performing her first match at Mania obviously comes in the surprise that maybe she'll be terrible, and instead of being terrible on a house show or being terrible in an NXT match, she will be terrible on the granddaddy's stage of them all, and that is not the place to be terrible your first time out, you know?
I think they can reliably do a storyline in which she's fairly well protected and has room to grow. I mean, most UFC guys who are we have to say guys. We have Shayna. Shayna's good.
Yeah, but Shayna didn't start good, though, and that's important to remember. Shayna was really bollocks at the beginning of her pro wrestling career.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Shayna just kind of jumped in, like, with both feet, right? Like, in the indies or something?
Yeah, she's been on the indies for a while.
There are those homegrown talents who just trained at the Performance Center, and that was her path, as opposed to Shayna, like, going through the indies and being kind of, I don't know, we'll see. I can't imagine she won't be good.
Well, alright, so I guess then that's all of the matches on the card. What did you think of the event as a whole?
I thought it was a pretty good pay-per-view. There was nothing that absolutely blew me away. I enjoyed the Ronda Rousey segment. I thought the women's chamber match was perfectly acceptable, but I didn't like the booking.
Did you like it better than the women's Rumble?
I think of all of the first-time historic women gimmick matches that have happened since the Divas Revolution, I think this may have been the best one. I thought the Hell in a Cell was forced. I thought the Royal Rumble, it was alright. The Iron Man match didn't resonate too much with me.
I'm going to agree with you on that, by the way.
I think it did everything it needed to do. I think this was the best one. So, yeah. The pay-per-view overall, I thought it was pretty good. I'm going to be generous. My gut is saying a 6, but I want to say a 7, so I'm going to say a 7.
I'm going to go with a 6 myself. I feel you. I feel like I want to give it a little more. The women's Elimination Chamber match was the highlight of the night for me. It was all downhill after that. And the Asuka Nia match was a dumpster fire. So, I'm going to go 6, and it's only going to get the 6 instead of the 5 specifically because of the strength of the women's Elimination Chamber match, which I do agree is the best of the quote-unquote women's first evers, maybe outside of the Sasha Bayley NXT Iron Woman match, but
I'm definitely saying main roster historic.
Yeah.
NXT they paved the way with quite a few things.
Right. So good stuff. It wasn't a bad pay-per-view overall, and we both definitely had things we liked about it and things we did not like, as per usual. That wraps up this week's episode about the WWE Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. We are, of course, going to start work on another episode very soon, as we are going to be attending a indie show called Ripper to Shreds from Nova Pro Wrestling in Annandale, Virginia. Dustin and I will be going live and enjoying the all-women's show. How excited are you for that, Dustin?
Oh, I'm super excited about it.
All right, well, that cuts it for us this week. Thank you very much for tuning in. As per usual, like, share, subscribe, and thank you very much to DivaDirt.com for housing us this week, and potentially more so in the future. We appreciate your efforts, time, and commitment. People of the internet, have an excellent week. Say bye, Dustin.
I'm I'm confused. I thought this was my house.
Oh yeah. Here, we can go out for something to eat. Let me lock up. Hold on. You know what? It's going to have to come out the other end. We're going to need to wait another day or so. Goodbye.
Bye.
Boom, ticky, ba boom, boom, ticky, ticky, boom, ticky, ba boom, boom, ticky, ticky, work.